Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, still having issues with my camera and with the microphone disappearing, so hopefully that's not too annoying to anybody. And today I have with me Dave Olchowka, founder and CEO at Prizm. Dave, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
So far, so good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. My pleasure. My pleasure. So LinkedIn says you are based in Chicago. So Chicago, and we are recording on April 30th. So I am going to take a guess that Chicago is beautiful this time of the year. It could still be cold, but this was a warm winter. So I'm going to guess it's beautiful already.
Today is beautiful, but you could have gone either way with that. Yesterday was cold and rainy. You know, we've had a lot of cold and rainy. April's sort of a cold and rainy month. I always say you can't expect good weather in Chicago until July.
Okay, yes. So cold and rainy, I'm okay with.
Yeah.
May 1st snow, I'm not okay with.
Yeah. I mean, that still can happen. I woke up this morning, it was 45 degrees. So
It's going to happen, absolutely. So we always give the guests a chance to give the elevator pitch. What is Prizm?
yeah. So Prizm is the first and only tech-enabled insurance brokerage that caters to the affluent and high net worth communities in the personal insurance space.
Okay. Cool. All right. So tech-enabled insurance brokerage. I have a good idea what that is. Right.
Sure.
Front comes to mind. I don't know if there's others, but New Front is the one that I'm very familiar with.
Yep.
We're not focused on high net worth. Okay, so
Yeah.
high net worth is an interesting line of business.
Yeah.
I've never worked in high net worth, right? So everything I know about high net worth, let's start with that. I've never been a broker, and I'm a former middle market underwriter. Everything I know about high net worth has come from conversations with either companies or people that work in that space. Okay. The high net worth space used to be really well served on the carrier side by a fireman's fund who got
Yep.
acquired by Allianz, right? It is still served to this day by Chubb,
Yep.
AIG, and there's a couple of startup carriers that serve that space, right?
There's
And
more than there's more than that, right? So you've
okay,
got Chubb and AIG, which are really the names. Those are names that people have heard because they've been around for a long time. But
absolutely,
you've got PIR Insurance, you've
which
got
is no longer a
Cincinnati
startup, right? Pure is now part of Tokyo Marine.
Tokyo Marine.
They're an
Yeah,
established young carrier. Okay, who else?
that's right. Cincinnati Private Client.
Oh, I like that one because it's a great company, and high net worth is a new focus for them. Uh,
10, 15 years about. I would say,
Mhm.
and then Berkeley One.
Berkeley One, that's right. I did not think of, because I
Yeah.
don't think of them as a startup, since they're part of Berkeley, and Berkeley is 64 different companies, right? That number changes every day.
100%. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And then there's Volt, which is
There's Vault.
right, and I think there's another insurtech carrier focused on high net worth. But what I haven't run into is, I'm going to call you an insurtech. I don't know if you think of yourself as an insurtech, right? But
Yeah,
okay, perfect. So you're an insurtech brokerage,
that's right.
focused on high net worth. Okay, so high net worth. One of the reasons it's interesting is because it's a growing space of personal lines, right? Personal lines is not really growing. We're all fighting over the same business.
Right.
High net worth, as the U.S. has become and will probably continue to become a more unequal country. Full disclosure, I'm a Bernie bro, so this bothers me. But as a business, yes, there's immense opportunity serving the high net worth community, because the middle class is kind of dying, and some number of us are moving towards the high net worth space where they're better served by specifically tailored products and a white glove service. Okay. Now,
That's absolutely.
this has been a very long introduction to get to kind of my main question, which is like I'd love to hear the origin story.
Yeah.
But my main question really is, so the thing with the high net worth space in my mind, having never worked in that space, is it's all about white glove treatment. So it's very
Yes.
hard to digitize.
You would think.
So yes, tell me a story. How?
So yeah, so white glove, right? That's advice and consultation and being there
Mm-hmm.
when the client needs you the most, right? During those service periods. But one thing, I've got 20 years, almost 20 years of insurance,
Mm-hmm. Always
all in,
brokerage, right? According to your LinkedIn.
yeah, all in
Okay.
personal
Mm-hmm.
lines, first
Mm-hmm.
starting out as a State Farm insurance agent, then when moving into the corporate insurance space at the larger brokers, working in their high net worth departments,
Mm-hmm.
and then ultimately coming out and starting Prizm, which is what I just explained to you a couple of minutes ago. But high net worth space, there's two ways you can look at it, right? As this completely white glove concierge level service, which it absolutely is, that requires true advice and consultation from a human being. And we have not stopped providing all of those things at Prizm. But the process in obtaining insurance in the affluent or high net worth space is very antiquated and very manual, right? 99% of the business comes from referral partner relationships through financial advisors, wealth advisors, and other financial institutions. And the way you have to create those relationships is really a one-to-one basis, right? There's a lot of courting, and then there's that give me a shot, help me, let me try one of your clients out. But the process in obtaining that information requires the advisor to always act as an intermediary between the client and the insurance broker to make sure the process goes smoothly, because it's inconsistent from one client to the next. What we've done at Prizm is digitized the front end experience, which is the information gathering part, right? So, and the quoting process. So we've condensed the information gathering and the quoting process down from the standard 2 weeks in the high net worth space to 3 days or less. And the way we do that is through a risk profile questionnaire that we have built, that's proprietary software that asks questions to the client and then also obtains third-party data from many different sources to pull all the pieces together and get all the information that is otherwise asked in an email or on a 60-minute phone call, taking a lot of time of people who are very, very, very busy, right? High net worth usually means these people are busy, have a lot to do, they're running a mile a minute, and they're not interested in going through these long drawn out processes. They're like anybody else. We've changed to this digital world and we want more instant gratification. And Prizm has been able to do that. We've been able to provide that streamlined process of information gathering, also while providing advice and consultation on the back end. Once all of that information enters our back end systems, we can see it in one place, in one location, truly understand a client's risk profile, and immediately take it out to market same day.
Perfect. Okay, that makes perfect sense to me. So in commercial lines, middle market is a very ill-defined thing, with some carriers calling it 50,000 in premium, other carriers calling it 250,000 in premium. What is for Prizm? What is high net worth? Where do you start playing?
Yeah, that's a great question, because you'll ask any broker that plays in this space and you'll probably get a different answer from every one
That's
of
what I
them, right?
figured.
And I've always found it very interesting, especially when I was at the big brokers, when we would go to a wealth advisor firm and they would say, "Well, what are you looking for? What type of clients are right for you?" And we go, "Well, we want your richest clients. We want your 10 million and up." And it's like, wait a second, no. What Prizm is whatever the financial advisor's appetite is, for their clients, that's our appetite as well. A
Okay.
typical affluent client to high net worth starts around that $250,000 household income, house valued at $750,000 or more, right? From a cost to rebuild perspective, that's where the barrier to entry with the traditional carriers in the high net worth space, like the Chubbs, the AIGs, the Cincinnati, that's where it starts for qualification. But
Mm-hmm.
Prizm also has contracts with the Travelers and the Safecos of the world who offer more premier policies where you can add many endorsements to a lower tiered, maybe millionaire next door client who needs good
Mm-hmm.
advice and consultation in areas where they might be deficient and not getting the right advice from their State Farm or Allstate agent, whether it be umbrella limits or water backup limits. And we can craft a policy that can mimic closely to a high net worth policy with some of these carriers. So our appetite is our partner's appetite. We don't set that, they set that. And if they've got clients that they're working with that are high earners that that don't have a ton of investable assets just yet, but they're making $500,000, $600,000 a year, they've just bought their first $1 million house, put those umbrella limits in place to make sure we provide um, coverage for that future or those future earnings, right? And those future assets so that they don't get flipped with their wages being garnished in a large liability suit. So our appetite is the wealth advisor appetite for
Perfect.
what Prizm is looking for.
Perfect. Perfect. So I have no idea the listenership. I know that half of them are brokers, half of them are carriers. I don't know how many of them are in the wealth side, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but let's take a moment to make a pitch to them. Okay, so if I am if a listener is a wealth advisor or other
Yeah.
high level professional that deals with high net worth people, why should they recommend Prizm?
Why would they recommend Prizm?
Yeah, yeah, to their
Well, Prizm truly acts as a partner in with them to act as a value-added service in their holistic approach to risk management, right? With wealth advisors, which you may not know, they have some are strictly money management, right? Others have more of a holistic approach to risk management where they're not just talking about money management, they're doing financial planning, estate planning, life insurance,
Mhm.
disability,
Yeah, life
tax,
insurance, lots in that
you know,
space. Yeah.
tax planning, right?
Hmm.
Things of that nature. And personal insurance has its place in that holistic approach to risk management,
Absolutely.
right? You've got to protect the assets now and later.
Hmm.
And if we can be a true partner to them and provide a consistent platform where process is the same every time and the outcome is the same every time because of the digitization and the way that we can actually embed into their systems. Prizm's technology can embed into a wealth advisor's website, back end client portals, their back end systems. And we know when a client is coming from our partners clearly by the client coming through that link, right? So we stop all of that need to be an intermediary and we allow them to truly use this as a value added service across their whole client book.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. So I I have a client that would be a good fit for you guys. Do I send them to the Prizm website? Do I make a warm introduction? How does that handoff work? And what does the process look like for them once they engage with you?
Absolutely. So it can be done anyway, right? We like to say we are multi-channel access, right? So you can if you're an actual wealth advisor partner, we've created a unique URL for you that is specific to your business, and we would like you to give that to the client or do it with the client in one of your quarterly meetings, right? And what happens is, or if it's in your situation where you know somebody, you can send them to the website or make a warm introduction. My first response is going to be, the typical nice to meet you via email. The best way to get started is do our 3-minute risk profile questionnaire. So I'm always going to force that link or push that link as well, because that is the best way for us to gather all the information that we need to provide a comprehensive review of their insurance program. So once a client takes that risk profile questionnaire and fills it out, we also have a link of a technology that we use where they can actually enter their username and password with their current insurance company. And in 30 seconds, our technology will grab all of the declarations pages from that current company so that we can provide true side by side proposals of their current program versus our recommendations. But
The,
what happens after they've go
hold
ahead?
on. Does that work with every carrier or only
It,
carriers you're okay, so
no, every carrier,
awesome. Okay,
State Farm,
continue.
Allstate, anybody. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that stops that need to attach deck pages, and it also is very meaningful when you see those side by side coverages, and you can really see visually where your deficiencies are. But once they've filled that out and we have that information, real advisors at Prism put their eyes on it. They look at the risk profile, they look at the assets, the homes, the net worth, the annual income, the exposures, whether there be youthful drivers or home like a nanny or a house manager, nonprofit board exposure, things like that that are important to affluent and high net worth individuals or families. We look at that and then we place the actual coverage levels. The advisors at Prism will then go, hey, we know that based on this area and this location of this home and these features of the home, that it's X per square foot, and we should be looking to insure it for this, right? And we know based on the exposures that we see and the risk profile, net worth, household income, we should probably look to show these three umbrella limits. And then we take that out to market, package it up in a personalized microsite for the client that comes back to them via a link that is live. So we could make live changes on the microsite while we're talking to the client, but that delivers them a true side by side proposal of their current coverage versus our recommendations, has definitions in there for them to really understand and self-educate why those coverages are important. And they even have the ability to accept that proposal internally and start our onboarding process without ever talking to somebody. But also in the proposal, they can book an appointment or email us additional questions that they have. So we really like to provide as much information up front for the client to self-educate. So once we get on a call with them, the call can be short but meaningful.
Perfect. It sounds like everything is designed to everything is designed with the assumption that this very successful person is very busy and wants good advice, the right coverages,
Yep.
Without having to spend 2 hours chatting with me, or
Yes.
dealing with crappy technology, dealing with PDF applications, all of that stuff.
Correct.
Fantastic, fantastic, and it looks like, according to your LinkedIn, it looks like you created the company about 2 years ago.
That's correct. Yeah. November of 2022 is when we launched.
November of 2022. Okay. Um, how so as a former broker, you had some level of entrepreneurship, right? Like as a broker, you weren't an underwriter. You have to hunt for your own business, right? You have to be a hunter to eat.
Yeah.
And you already had a very variable income.
Yep.
How was that transition? Both, what led you to say, yes, I'm gonna give up my successful brokerage career. Well, I'm gonna give up the safety net of
Yeah.
of a very large brokerage where I'm being successful and open my own thing where I have to build technology. Like that's a big risk.
Yeah. It's where I feel the most comfortable, actually.
Okay.
I was crawling out of my skin at the brokerages, at the large brokerages. I I I started my career as an entrepreneur, right? I opened up my
Oh.
State Farm agency at
Oh,
25 years old.
okay. Got it. I thought you had been a producer at a State Farm. No, you had
No,
started at State Farm.
I had my own State Farm agency for 11 years. And in between that
Ah,
time, my wife and I had also bought and sold some businesses, and we ended up selling a manufacturing business that we owned, right?
mm-hmm,
And I knew that insurance was really the place I wanted to stay,
mm-hmm,
but I started to outgrow as in an individual, me and my wife, we outgrew the offering that I could provide at State Farm, and many
mm-hmm.
of the people around us had outgrown that offering, which sparked my desire to say, what else is out there? What do I need, and how can I provide that? Which drew me to the high net worth space. And I went into the corporate space because I wanted to learn it and I wanted to understand it, and I really actually hoped I could stay in it. But I'm somebody who likes to move quick. I like to evolve quickly. And those large brokerages don't move fast. They don't
Mm-hmm.
evolve quickly. They have outdated or zero technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I I tried to give the idea of Prizm, that the process, the workflows of Prizm away twice to these brokers, that and they really couldn't grasp the concept. So I finally just said, if this is going to happen, it's time for me to go back to my entrepreneurial roots and do this myself.
You basically come full circle.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you started as a State Farm, running for 11 years, uh, and basically, yeah, you're basically come full circles. Awesome, awesome story.
yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely awesome. I'm kind of all over the place because some conversations are like insurtech conversations, and some
Yeah,
conversations are like career conversations. In this case, we're having kind of both.
yeah,
Uh, so, and you like normally I like to ask for what is the implementation like? There's no implementation here really because you're not offering a service to carriers or
no,
brokers, or you're not a SaaS platform. I like to ask about the pricing. That's not under your control, basically. Uh, I like to ask about what are the clients saying. So what are the clients saying? And I'm guessing that you see both the final client and the wealth advisor as your clients. So I'm just curious, what are you hearing from them about being glad they partner with you?
yeah. I mean, the feedback from the beginning has been overwhelmingly positive for Prism, and I think that the the best metric for that is the rapid growth that we've had, right? And the willingness for advisors and financial planners and other financial institutions to listen to what we have to say and engage in our platform. I think that's the proof in the pudding, that everybody is really interested in what we're doing and how we're doing it, and they really enjoy how quick and easy it is for them, right? Because the biggest pain point that I heard when I was at the big brokers was from the wealth advisors and the clients, and they said, why does this have to be so complicated? Why does this take so long? And when a client or a wealth advisor has to reach out to you and say, when am I getting my proposal? You've already lost, right? You have not provided an experience that makes them want to come back.
Mm-hmm.
But our what we've done is the opposite of that. We have delivered in a way where it's so easy to understand what information you've provided and when you're going to get your results. And then if you're not going to get your results in the timeline that we have laid out, which is sort of our model, if it's because of claims and we need more information, or it's for a hard market like a California, Colorado, or Florida, we are constantly in contact saying, here's where we're at. This is what's happening. And I cannot tell you, Tony, I'm sure you know this, that communication is so critical. There is
Mm-hmm.
nothing worse than silence and never knowing where you're when it's coming, or a week goes by and then somebody asks you a question and it's like, where were you a week ago? Why didn't you ask me that question a week ago? How do we speed this up? Right? So we've really been able to solve for those pain points, and the response has just been overwhelming. I know that was a long-winded way of answering
No,
your
that's
question, but
that's a
yeah,
fantastic answer. All right. Uh, what's next? So generally, what I like to ask is, are there any features that are on the way, or but I'll make it a little broader. So
Yeah.
so whether it's new features that are coming or just the future of Prizm, what do you foresee for, let's say, the second half of 2024 and going forward?
Yeah, so we're always evolving and we're always developing new technology and integrating our tech stack with either proprietary technology or pulling in some other insurtech piece or some other piece of technology that works in our stack. So that evolution will continue.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some generative AI that we're looking at possibly implementing that will even give us some baseline recommendations right off the bat in our back end. So our advisors have, a little easier way of applying coverage levels because they're getting immediate feedback from an AI tool that says, like, based on income and net worth and this, we should be looking at $5,000 and $10,000 deductibles for a client like this, right? So, like, and taking some of the guesswork out. But we're really looking to just right now we're honing in on expanding our offering in that wealth advisor and financial planner. We have not even tapped that space. There's over 330,000 registered investment advisors in the US.
Oh, okay.
And with each of them having an average of 100 to 150 clients. 75% of affluent and high net worth clients are still with middle market or mass market carriers. We've only, as a high net worth space, as a niche
Hold
vertical,
on.
we've only
What's the
captured
percentage? Did you say 70%?
75%. We've only captured 25% of the available market
And
as a whole industry of a high net worth industry. So there's a lot that we can be done just in that one channel alone. But we are looking broader, right? We're looking potentially at our own products, not this year, but in the future. We're looking at different distribution channels, different areas where we could add value, in the high net worth space. We're looking to create connectivity between the carriers and be someone who can actually, potentially have a true API, not a rater connection, but like a true API connection with these high net worth carriers to have our information flow easily to continue to speed this process up. Bi-directional information sharing with the carriers to better underwrite, right? We want to be a partner in the industry, not just somebody who's revolutionizing the way it's done. We want to be a partner with the people who are already here.
all right, fantastic. It's been a very, very interesting conversation. If somebody had asked me last week if do you believe there is an insurtech play in the in the high net worth space, I would have been like, well, there's already a couple of carriers that are doing that. I don't know. But
Yeah.
no, this makes
Yeah, no,
it makes sense to me, and it looks like a freaking blue ocean worth of opportunity. I cannot believe that 75% of high net worth people are insured by regular middle market companies. That is crazy. Hopefully, most of them are properly insured, but like for the right amounts. But
they're
yes,
rarely.
that's not what those products are designed for.
Yeah, they're
Right.
rarely insured for that. They're really rarely insured properly. They rarely have the liability limits that they need. They rarely have the dwelling coverage that would, is correct for what it would truly cost to rebuild their home today. They rarely have the right limits for water backup of sewer and drain, right? Which is such a critical coverage in the insurance industry as a whole, right? They rarely understand where their real exposures are for loss, right? From a liability perspective. It's a twofold process where it's not only about providing the right coverage from a policy form perspective, it's about providing the right advice and consultation as to where they have those risks. And people of means, when their eyes are open to a risk that can take away what they've worked so hard for, they want to solve for that, right?
Of course.
The biggest issue is that most people don't know that the high net worth space exists because the only way to access it is through these wealth advisor and financial planner channels, right? But with these old antiquated ways of doing business and this one-to-one connection, it's taken 100 years to get to where it is today. But if we add a little technology and we can start to partner truly at the company level instead of the individual advisor level and roll out a process that can plug right in to the advisor's process with their clients and be consistent every time, where they don't have to identify who's a good fit, who needs a review. It just becomes what they do as part of their value added services. You can expand that offering in a way that the space has not been able to expand it yet.
Makes sense to me. Love it. Thank you so much for your time today. When this goes live, I will tag you and the company on LinkedIn.
Right.
And I look forward to chatting a couple of years to see how far into that that underserved 75% you've been able to reach.
Yeah, I mean, 2%. If I capture 2%, I'll be walking away with, it'll be over.
Makes sense. Thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thank you.